something's in front of you, you kill it. No hiding, no waiting. You keep going.
You're listening to 89.5 The Wave, KCFD Ferguson.
Your property now belongs to Negan.
This is Dead Air.
You're gonna feel pretty stupid when you find out.
Find out what?
The screwing with the wrong people.
That is right. We are back with the one, the only Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, and I am joined with the one, the only Paul and Anime this awesome morning. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
It is nice to be back in the studio talking about the one, the only Walking Dead that we all know and love so much. And with this episode, especially because of everything that happened in it, it's going to be a fun discussion.
Ooh, it was jam-packed.
It was amazing.
This was a big one.
Yeah. It was one of the... I think this 2 episodes before this that were kind of setup episodes paid off in this one.
Yeah, big
Definitely.
time.
Yeah,
Big time.
It paid off, and it had such an interesting feel that we've seen a little bit before, but we haven't seen fully to this extent of not a war, but the group going in and being on the attack first.
Well, one of the things that really got to me was how, we started off the season with a 2-month time jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in that 2 months, look at how far, not just the Alexandrians, but people like Gabriel have come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Gabriel was sitting there with the sniper rifle. He's like, don't worry, Rick, I'm not letting you down.
That was pretty cool.
It's like...
I love Gabriel in this episode.
Oh my gosh. Gabriel's actually manned up. Yes!
Yep.
It was great.
Yep.
The friggin' miracle.
Yeah, it was nice to see. There was a lot of character development in just this one episode as well. I mean, every episode has some character development, but I mean, some of the main ones that we really got to see, of course, was Carol.
Of course.
Yeah.
And Glenn, and I definitely want to talk about Carol and everybody, but your overall thoughts on the episode?
I thought it really got us to where we needed to be. It's a big turning point for Rick's group.
Yeah.
Because, for the most part, they have not gone on the attack against someone who has not directly attacked them. So basically now they are becoming the equivalent of mercenaries for Hilltop. And I think they're going to reap some benefits, but I also think that they failed to complete the mission, shall we say.
Yeah.
Because we still haven't met him yet, and it would really suck for the story going forward if they'd already killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be weird.
And
There'd be no way they do that.
No. But I really think that they may have bitten off a little bit more than they could chew, especially as was revealed by the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit too much.
What do you think?
I really liked the overall episode. I was hoping to see... excuse me. I was hoping to see more character development with Carol, and we got that in the beginning of this episode because, we hadn't seen her much in the coming, the episodes that were revealed after that came from the mid-season. It's like, where is she? You've got to see some development from her, especially with what happened to Sam. It's like, are we not going to see her at all? There's no way they would do that. So when we got the development from her in the beginning of the episode, and you got to see when Morgan confronted her where their deceased loved ones were, and she was at Sam's grave, that really kind of hit me. I didn't cry or anything. It was just like they mentioned in Talking Dead that she feels she's responsible because of the things she said for Sam's death. So it's like you could tell that she has changed, but as we've been saying, her thoughts of, am I really this killing machine? Can I keep on doing this without it affecting me? Are a lot more of, I have this list of people, not walkers, who cares? And it's like walkers, and okay, write them down. Of the people that I have killed, and it's affecting her. And even though we, as the audience, don't see it much, but we saw it when she took out the notebook and wrote it down beside her bedside. So I love the overall arc for her. The conquest of the bunker, that was cool. I'm usually not one for a bloodbath. That was really cool. We got to see really good development with Glenn in his first human kills.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad you put the S on the end of that.
Yeah, because there was a lot this episode.
I mean, the 2 kills that he did in there, and then just the overall bloodbath that happened in the bunker, and then the that is some luck right there for Glenn and Heath getting to where the armory was in that tiny little room. By the way, you think their armory would be a bit bigger, but
I have a theory on that.
Yeah, I think you and I are on the same page on that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a theory. on that.
Then go for it.
Okay, so I think pretty much, which, by the way, I just want to say real quick, because we're going to be talking about Carol. We got a lot to talk about this episode.
so much.
Yeah.
But I want to say visually, this episode looked amazing with
Yes.
some of the shots that they've done. With the one of them in particular, I remember the shot where it's like the tree and everything, and the fence walls all in black, and you see like the pink and purple sky and stuff. That was
Yeah,
really
that
cool.
was gorgeous.
And then when what's his face drove up to the Savior's hideout, and the lights just boom on the red lights.
Yeah.
That looked really
Get
cool.
out of your vehicle.
Yeah.
And then some other choice words.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we can't say those here.
Nuh-uh.
It was a beautiful looking episode. But okay, so my whole theory is I'm assuming that this place is not their main base.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I-
I'm agreeing with you.
Especially because what I'm thinking is that Negan has his main base. And then he has little settlements all around where he has people store, because if he has his saviors go out in every direction, go to these different civilizations, go to these different communities, take some stuff, they store all their stuff there, because if nobody knows where your main base is and you store your stuff at the other base, so you have a small armory, for the men that's inside, some bunkers, kind of like a shift, they'll switch shifts every so often and go back to the main base while somebody, goes on the skeleton crew out there on, the satellites or whatever.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned satellites, because yes, there were satellite dishes up there, but I don't necessarily think that was done strictly because there were satellite dishes. I agree. I think those are satellite outposts. Yeah. Not necessarily in that they have satellite dishes, but in that they're not where Negan is. They're not the main sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the outposts for Negan's crew. I don't think that is the main. I don't even think they've seen Sanctuary yet.
Yeah.
I think they managed to find an armory of that one little outpost. I don't think they found the main armory for Negan's group, because while there was a lot of junk crammed into that little tiny room,
Yeah.
I don't think that was it.
Exactly.
No.
Not enough for what they've said, like 20-something men, if not more.
Well, yeah, they said that his raiding parties are generally 20 men. That's enough for 20 men. That may be enough for 40 men.
Yeah, I would think that.
But that's not enough for someone who can afford to send out 20 men at a time in a raiding party.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it is just a little bit of an outpost that they're going to be using, and I think definitely because of what happened at the end, I really think that that's going to come back to, bite them in the butt. And we're not going to see. I highly doubt we're probably not going to see Negan's home base till next season.
I'm probably going to agree with you.
Yeah, maybe like a shot on the last episode, like an after credit shot, maybe, if we get anything.
Like maybe do a cool little shot of like afterwards. It's kind of like how they had the prison where it goes up and the camera kind of zooms up over like the sanctuary, and then you see how many people Negan really has working for him, and how it's like, oh, Rick bit off a lot more than he can chew, and he's not as him and his group aren't as efficient as.
I was saying Rick is wearing his brown pants.
Exactly. Exactly. So okay, we got to also talk about her. We got to talk about Carol.
Oh my goodness!
Because Carol had a lot of good and interesting character development this episode. That was kind of 360 from her normal badass self. But that was also interesting because of the relationship between her and Tobin that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, she's one of those anime is one of those that's really hoping for a Carol Daryl thing.
I wanted that.
I mean, I was too at some points. I was like, oh, yeah, that's...
At some point.
They're going to be getting together. But then the story, the way it's progressed, and the way these two characters have kind of split off to where I don't think the last 2 seasons they've really had a lot of screen time together anymore.
No. They really... Well, I wouldn't say the last 2 seasons, but this past season. The first half season and this half.
Yeah.
So far, they haven't really been on screen much together.
Yeah, but I mean, neither has, Carol and Tobin. But
Carol, if you think about it, especially the first half of this season and the last half of last season, Carol's been spending a lot more time inside the walls at Alexandria and becoming that Susie homemaker person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the persona that most, even Tobin pointed out, that she's become a mom to most of the Alexandrians there, bringing them the cookies.
Except Sam.
There's Sam. But still, it's like, but I can at least say when they did the little, I'm just going to say it was a peck. It wasn't a full-on tongue-in-mouth kiss, so maybe there's still hope. I can dream.
Oh, my God.
Well, see, and I think this kind of goes well because of what she also said later of, this isn't who you're supposed to be, or she said something along those lines to Maggie.
Yeah.
To Maggie. So I really think that it might have been because, okay, you got Tobin, who is, let's face it, he's kind of like one of the main faces of Alexandria and almost like the kind of father figure. Like, you see him helping Rick and, hey, don't give up on us. He's very kind of much Joe Everyman.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, not killing and not doing other stuff. And with the persona that Carol's kind of built, which I think, especially the opening, how she was walking around and doing all this stuff, and then you could kind of see
her acorns. And
but you could see when she was collecting the acorns, and then also when the walker came up, she all of a sudden switched into that battle mode.
That was cool.
And then went back. I think.
Yeah, but can I point out one thing about that?
Yeah,
go on.
She almost looked regretful afterwards.
Yeah,
because she heard it.
She
she sharpened up. She's like, okay. She whipped out the machete, hacked the thing in the head. And I don't think it was just because she was wearing a nice pressed white shirt and it had just gotten blood splatter all over it. She really looked like, I'm tired of killing. And that was kind of the thing that I got from Carol almost the entire episode is, I do this because I have to, but I'm tired of having to.
Yeah, I think she actually likes the quote-unquote mom persona a lot more, and not having to be, killing a bunch of wolves and going out there and surviving with the walkers. I think she likes being able to cook for the town and everything like that. So she had some interesting character development within this episode, and again, her kind of mouthing off to Rick and Maggie when Rick was just like, oh well, she blah 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 blah, and she's like, yeah, well, she shouldn't be here. She's pregnant, and she's supposed to be the negotiator. She's not supposed to be the fighter.
Okay, first off, the geese didn't like us, and now the police are coming from us. I think Greg Nicotero and Scott M. Gimple are coming after us. We may be in trouble here.
Yeah, we are getting too close to the truth of what's going on here. We are getting way too close.
If you think about it, Carol kind of started off as a mom homemaker. If you remember back in season 1, she was the one down by the lake doing the laundry. She was doing the cooking and all of that.
And she was also afraid of her husband.
And she was terrified of her husband.
May he not rest in peace.
And while she didn't necessarily kill him, she did drive the pickaxe through his head several times after he had been walker-fied.
Yeah.
And she has really developed past that into this almost robotic killing machine where if it needs to be done, I'm going to do it. And in this episode, you start to see how that's taken a toll on her little diary, the fact that, she's, well, first off, that she's smoking. I mean, really? Carol?
Well, she sort of was. She tried it because I think she tried it because I think she might have gotten the idea from Tobin or something, because I think he was doing it. And then by the end, nearing the end of the episode, she kind of looked at it before they went on, well, not, I guess, end of the episode, more like middle of the episode. before they went out on the road. She just kind of looked at it. I was like,
But I mean, it's almost like she's come first circle. Or full circle,
full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
She's gone from being that mom, the homemaker. She's gone to being this almost inhuman killing machine, and now she's gotten a taste of what her former life was.
Yeah,
and it's almost like she wants that back, but she can't let go of the part of her that is just amazing at killing things.
Yeah,
it's almost like, and I'm kind of drawing a parallel between her and Glenn, because it was Glenn's first real human kill, but she has killed a lot of people. And remember what Glenn said of, I assume it doesn't leave you.
Yeah.
And I think this is showing that Carol may be a badass. There's no question about that. But it is taking a toll on her, and it is affecting her in ways that really upset, and stick with her and live with her, and she doesn't like to kill.
And that was a great talk between Glenn and Heath, especially with the parallel towards how things are affecting Carol.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And what was it? There was one more point that I really had about Carol. Okay, so at the end when they were captured, in that little scene, I don't know if it was next week, but I still want to bring it up because it seems crucial. When they said, hey, talk to, let them know, or let us know that they're okay, and they have Carol and them talk. Did Carol sound a little bit more scared than...
Slightly, I think.
I agree with slightly, but I think she was also getting a little, frankly, angry because Maggie was in danger, and there's a baby there, and also the guy called her a word that we can't say. And so that kind of turned, at least what I kind of saw, is it turned her scared and her more scared persona to, oh, you did not just call me that. I'm going to just...
No.
See, because Jack had a theory, too.
See, let me see if I'm aligned with Jack on this.
Yeah.
Carol's defense is disguise.
Mm-hmm.
She looks so harmless. She looks... she looks older, she looks small, she looks weak, and if she looks scared, they're going to think she's scared, and they're probably going to let their guard down around her, thinking, oh, what's she going to do? She's terrified of us. I think that's part of Carol's little trap. I don't think it's going to end up where they're going to have to do the trade to get Carol and Maggie back. I think at some point somebody's going to screw up.
Yeah.
And Carol's going to just, bloodbath city, and then, all right, Maggie, come on, let's go.
Yeah. It's like we're trying to figure that, at least I was trying to figure that out when they were showing the ones who were captured with, at least for Carol and Maggie, the fact they had the hoods or whatever, or the bags put over their heads. So it's like, okay, who's going to screw up? How's Carol going to know that something's going to go, something's going to be wrong? And then how can she whip out without how many people going after her and getting her before she can get them? So...
We'll see, too, and I think that definitely leads back to what we were talking about before. If they throw bags over their head, they don't want to know where they're taking them. So it could be another outpost, or we could actually be going to, Sanctuary next episode. Granted, I don't think there's going to be a full assault on Sanctuary.
I don't think they're going to be going to Sanctuary. I think they just took them into the woods somewhere because it did look like a wooded area, and there's plenty of those around, and Carol and Maggie kind of stuck behind. And then when the alarm went off, they ran towards... I think they may have gotten caught by somebody... Because you can't think of Negan being as smart and as vicious as he is without leaving somebody out to kind of guard outside the walls in case there was something like an alarm that got pulled inside the walls of the station.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to be outside waiting and going, okay, that's great. They may, kill everyone inside there. But when they try to leave, they're going to run into us.
Yeah, and it's
and I think that's what caught Carol and Maggie.
Yeah, and it's like what the actress that plays Tara said, who I absolutely love. She was
Alana
so
Masters.
cool.
Alana Masterson.
Yeah, they don't know if there's just these people or if there's 20 people around with sniper rifles aimed right at them.
Yes.
And so the numbers in their head are kind of like us. Like, is that the only little group, or is there like 50 different men just surrounding this place because of the alarm. So that's going to be interesting to see what comes up.
Yeah.
Here in a little bit. And I do agree. I think. Okay, so here's one more thing because we need to take a break soon.
Okay.
But here's the thing: do you think that Carol could be on the chopping block for this season because of what she's been doing and what she's been going through and the character development that they gave her within this episode? Do you think it could be possible that next episode we might lose her?
I really don't think so.
No, I don't think they would do that so soon. I mean, we are going to have a death sometime, but usually if there are deaths, they're usually at the end or the mid-season. So if we're going to lose her, it's not next episode.
Yeah, big deaths.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, we haven't had too many big deaths this season.
Since the mid-season? No,
So-
we really
Yeah.
haven't.
That worries me that something's gearing up.
They could be saving up all their death karma for the mid-season finale and make it a doozy.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. But stick around because we're going to be taking a short break. And when we get back, we got to talk about Abraham.
Abraham
was a jerk this episode.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
We'll get
of the
into
year.
it. We'll get into it. We need to talk about Abraham. We need to talk about Gabriel. And there's just still so much that we need to talk about.
We need to talk about the speech at the church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So stick around because Dead Air will be back after this short break here on 89.5 The Wave.
You gotta go back.
That is right. We are back to Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave, and I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, rocking out in the studio, having a blast talking about last Sunday's epic Walking Dead episode. Now, I am joined with the one, the only Paul and Anna May, if you're just tuning in, and we were talking a little bit about Carol and the attack on the Saviors, but there was one thing that we kind of forgot about Carol.
Yeah, that was, and it was a big thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was that she stuck up for Morgan when Rosita was going off on her.
Yeah,
Yep.
Rosita had a very valid point.
She did.
In that
Oh, yeah.
Morgan was the cause of that final wolf problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way could have been the cause of the wolf problem to begin with.
Sorry.
And I'm not sure if Morgan knows that completely or not.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where there's a lot of key factors to say, and I think he kind of said... I think he definitely does take responsibility for it, and I think Aaron also takes responsibility for it. I mean, in the church, with the church scene, which we're going to get to,
Yep.
Aaron, stood up, and essentially, and I didn't even get this until I just started thinking about it now, the two people that essentially led the wolves to Alexandria, one's like, hey, we still need to try for people, and the other's like, no, we need to go kill people.
Yeah.
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 So-
I thought that was interesting. I noticed that in the episode. It was like, okay, the two people that are responsible for it, one of them is going, well, you know what? We screwed up there, but there's still a chance for other people. The other one is going, I'm not going to watch that happen to my home again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tend to side more with Aaron.
I agree.
I like Morgan. Morgan's cool.
See, I'm going with Morgan.
I side more with Aaron.
I'm siding with Morgan. I'm siding with Morgan because you don't give up on people, and when you become afraid to let people in, you're going to get stuff it's going to be bad.
You don't give up on people except when those people have already proven and granted, they have not, well, no, I can't even say that because Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha experienced what the Saviors are like.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they have firsthand knowledge within the group of what Negan's people are like.
Yeah.
And then Hilltop comes up and says, yeah, they beat a 16-year-old boy to death, or 15-year-old boy to
Yeah,
death
15.
right in front of us
Yeah.
to prove that they were serious, and then took half of everything we have.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, these are some really bad people, and at that
Yeah.
point, Morgan's point of view kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
If you meet random people along the way, yes, I think some of them can be saved. They may be doing what they feel they need to survive, much like Dwight and what was her name, Grace?
No idea.
No idea. Just Dwight and his
People
Dwight
chick.
and his 2 girls.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
People that stole the motorcycle, which comes back, to Daryl.
Right.
Yeah.
Them, I could see giving a chance. They're out there. They're just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to escape something, which now we know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just trying to survive. Yes, give them a chance.
Yeah.
Negan's group, however, since no, we as the audience know they're bad, and even the characters are learning. Not only it's like with Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham, it could have been okay. Maybe only this part of the group is bad. Doesn't necessarily mean all of the group is bad. But when we go to Hilltop and learn all the bad stuff they've done, it's like no, we can't give these guys any wiggle room because they will take us over.
Yes,
but even then, you got to think about it this way too, and this is a valid point. Morgan could possibly be thinking that maybe some of these men do this stuff because they feel that they have to just to survive, and if you give somebody a way out of a situation that's bad and free, you're fine, we're going to give you a way out, you don't have to live like this anymore, you can be you, then that person might turn and become a better person because you're giving them a way out.
Do you want to refute this, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, you were on jump on the bandwagon, so go ahead.
I'm really itching to go at this one. That is true for people who are inherently good. However, people who are inherently bad and who are given a position of power by someone who is bigger, badder than them, and can enforce that position of power, will not want to give that position up.
Nope.
Even if they're offered, hey, you can come back and do stuff and things in Alexandria, and you don't have to sit and kill people constantly. We're not going to tell you to do that. They're going to be like, you know what? I get to kill whoever I want. I get to take stuff from people. I
kind of like this gig.
Yeah, that's what you're looking at. You're going to be looking at people who are going to. There may be 1 or 2, but I think a majority are going to be like, you know what? I like this gig. I get to do whatever I want, beat up people, shoot people, take their stuff, yeah, this is good. And that's why I ended up siding with Aaron where the saviors are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I understand that, and I'm gonna go against that because we don't have all day to talk about this.
That's true.
But I'm gonna go against that where it's the higher ups definitely not. And yes, you're gonna get those people. Well, I can do whatever I want. We got a weed room. We got guns. I can kill whoever I want.
I did enjoy their little grow room.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whoa. No wonder they're so happy over here.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. But it was, you got those people that, yes, they're going to do what they want to do and stuff. But then if you get somebody who was manipulated or scared or even bullied into that situation, much like Merle with the governor, and he felt that he owed him, you give those people a way out in a room of 20 people, even if 5 say, okay, you're right, let's go with you because we don't like this life. That's 5 people that you saved, and granted you got 10, 15 more that are more than willing to be a problem.
To shoot you.
Yeah.
That's when you do fight back. Trust me, I understand that there's the situations, but what I think Morgan wants is let's give them a chance, because the people that need that chance, that want to get out, that are inherently good and just wound up in a really bad situation, will take that out. And anybody who's left who's like, no, we're going to fight, that's when you use brute force. You got to give the people the way out first. And by doing this, I feel that Rick and the group are becoming murderers, and they're going down a dark path where instead of being survivalers, they're mercenaries.
I think they are going down a bit darker of a path, and I think they almost need to at this point.
I think they do too.
I mean, they are at a point where they've got a lot of dangerous people that they're going to be dealing with, and they need to have that oomph to get through it.
Yeah.
So, but I back to the original thing, I do really think that with Carol defending Morgan, I think remember, and I'm not going to say I called it, but remember I said Carol and Morgan are kind of a yin and yang?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're two sides of the same coin, and I think they're going to start coming around. I can already see Carol coming around to Morgan's point of view. Mm-hmm. I think something is going to happen in Alexandria, or Morgan's going to be out, and he's going to see a group of them doing something so horrific that Morgan's going to be like, okay, these people need to die. Mm-hmm. And I think there's going to be that evening out of Carol and Morgan.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I would like that too. It would be interesting to have that evening out, but I also like it because I think the one thing that Carol is doing is I really think she respects Morgan, even though his views on life, are debatable clearly right now about letting people live and stuff like that. He has his motives and he's sticking to them. He has his guns and he's going to stick to those guns. And
He uses a staff, not a gun.
Yeah, well.
and she can respect that.
Yeah.
And he's not being somebody that he's not having to try to survive. He's wanting to.
Yeah.
He's not making these hard calls to essentially, honestly, he's making even a harder call
To
than
not kill.
most people in this world are doing, because it's a hard thing to say, hey, I'm going to kill somebody. It's a harder thing to say, these people killed a whole bunch of my friends. I'm still going to give these people a chance, or try to. That's harder in and of itself, and I think she sees that, and I think she respects that. So, okay,
Yeah, we've hit this point a little apart.
We've hit this one good.
So, Abraham being a pain in the butt, nice word to say. Let's hit that for a slight bit and then go on to something else.
Yeah, well, okay, we got to talk about that, because honestly, fellas, if you're out there and you're going to break up with your girlfriend or significant other, take the Abraham Ford rulebook, because how can you stay mad at somebody who says, why are dingleberries brown?
I was going to say, take the Abraham Ford rulebook and throw it out the window.
Thank you.
Jeez, man, he was just wrong.
It's like, I thought you were the last woman on earth. I was wrong. It's like, oh my, I wanted to smack him in the face.
That's just evil, man.
I don't think he meant it like as in, he wasn't being bad. You got to think about it. He's a military dude. They're rough around the skin, and they're very much.
Yeah, but still, man. I mean, have a little bit of compassion, Just say, why are dingleberries brown? Who knows, but it's just not working out between us, and, I need to move on. Okay, but God, looking at someone and saying, I thought you were the last woman on earth. Turns out I was wrong. Oh, that's like...
That cut Rosita, it really did.
Yeah, that's like, breaking up with somebody and then smacking them in the face on your way out.
Yeah.
But see, the whole thing with that is that it's clear he loves Rosita. He does. He loves her, but he's not in love with her anymore. And the whole thing with them both being military-type people, I think it was, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off as quickly as possible, and I'm going to make sure that there's a little bit of a scar so that she doesn't know my true feelings of, yes, of course I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. I still do have, feelings for you, but they're not like that anymore. He cares, because anybody in this world you're going to care about, especially if they've helped you and, have done stuff. And
Bumping uglies.
Michael Cutlets.
Again, Bumplies.
Yeah, I always get that one wrong.
And, Michael Cutlets, I think, said it best on Talking Dead, where he does love her, but he doesn't have those feelings anymore. So I think being Abraham, who he is, I'm talking about Bisquick and Dingleberries and stuff, just rip the Band-Aid off and left a little bit of a scar because he can't allow himself to feel emotional. Because when he does, Eugene gets hit.
It could be, but now you brought up Eugene. I love the fact that he was standing in the doorway and just like, Cookie.
They're not bad.
They're not bad.
Smack goes the door.
And yeah, Rosita just slammed the door. I got a prediction, and it's sort of based on the comic books, that she's going to open that door eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think her and Eugene are going to get together, because I think Eugene's always kind of had a little bit of a thing for her, and now that he's not creepy...
You think?
Well, now that he's not kind of, super creepy, I think...
Wait a minute. I'd say Eugene's still kind of super... Well, not super creepy, but
No, he's getting
he's
better.
up on the high end of the creepy scale.
Well, I mean, okay, realistically, what any of us would not just kind of, if we saw, the friends, the cops are coming again, they know.
Again, man, all right.
Yeah, what were you
I'm
saying
ready.
about that, JazzHandss? About stalking your friends? I think the police heard you.
But no, what us wouldn't, if you see, two of your friends or two people that you know for a while all of a sudden kind of breaking up, you'd kind of be awkward and I just came in here.
I just wanted to offer some
I
cookies.
just wanted to see if you need a cookie.
It was just, and this is
Getting
where
closer.
exactly. But this is where me and my brother kind of were talking about it too, and I like that even within The Walking Dead now they're kind of putting in these moments to kind of break up the tension and make you laugh.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I don't know. I think it's too that when they make you laugh, the show doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
And it lightens up a little bit to where you can have a good laugh. And then you kind of come closer and, you care about these characters. Because who would have said that you would actually laugh on a show called Walking Dead?
That's true.
It's true, but I'm going to throw this out there. I get scared whenever they make me laugh.
That is another true fact.
Because I get the feeling that, okay, they've made us laugh. What horrible thing is coming after this?
Oh, no, that's going to happen.
We've got to pay. We've had a moment of levity. We have to pay at some point. And, oh, my God, they just smashed
but it's
somebody's
for
head.
the moment, they get us to kind of relax, to break the tension, and either go to a commercial break
And then
or then
build
go
it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like an abusive relationship. They make you laugh, but they're going to make you cry a little bit later. They're going to make you cry a little bit later.
And we love the abuse from The Walking Dead.
Exactly. Like when the show ended this week, I was like, wait, that's it? What's going to happen? They left on a cliffhanger.
I hated that so much.
They left on a cliffhanger for once, and I'm like, oh, what?
No cliffhangers.
Yeah, no cliffhangers until mid-season or season finale.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay. Now we got to talk a little bit about Gabriel.
Gabriel was...
He's definitely progressing.
Yeah. And did you... Okay, I got a question. Did you guys get when... And I want to know what your thoughts on this. When Rick asked him, why do you keep wearing that? And he said, well, because I'm still me.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I gotta, not agree with Gabriel, but he's trying to hold on to a part of himself that he still recognizes. He doesn't want to completely lose himself. So wearing the priest outfit, despite how really hot it probably is in Georgia, where
they're in Alexandria.
Yeah,
now.
I
They're
know,
in
but
Virginia.
the actor
I know, the actual
wearing
place.
all the black, it's like that's got to be like burning trying to wear that. So I give the actor all the props in the world for wearing that outfit most of the time. But it just helps him to kind of keep a hold of himself so he doesn't, I'm not going to say go off the bandwagon, because when he locked the people out of his church, he went off the bandwagon. So I think he's trying to I'm trying to think of the right word for it, to kind of keep, it's not who he used to be, but who he wants to be, maybe. That he can still be the priest that he was, but he's not going down the dark road of, I'm just going to lock all you guys out. I've got the food, and you guys can try and survive. Have fun.
I personally, I think that's Gabriel saying, I'm still a man of God. I'm still a man of peace. But I'm realizing that, strictly from Gabriel's point of view, that God has put us into the situation. And, from a man who has studied the Bible, from a man who has been through and taught the Bible and, done sermons, he has to be looking at the many times in the Bible that God put his followers through tests.
Yeah.
Through trials. And I think he sees this as, I'm still a man of God, and this is just another trial. This is one that God is putting me through. And I loved his little quip at the very end of that, where he's just kind of like, plus, I'm harder to see at night.
That was funny. I thought you were going to mention when he was quoting the Bible to the guy. That was epic.
That was like a mixture of Jules from Pulp Fiction And another Norman Reedus thing, the Boondock Saints, before they kill anyone.
Yeah.
That was perfect, where he's just like, my father's house has many mansions, and you're not going to make it to one of them. I just thought that was great. I was like, yeah, perfect.
That was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was one of the most interesting things, and I think I will agree, and I kind of hope that Rick and the gang take his example of becoming somebody and doing something, but then are having to do stuff in the moment to survive, but then also not losing track of who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who you once were. So we need to wrap it up shortly because we're getting close out of time. So thoughts on Glenn's death, or not Glenn's death.
I was like, wait, what?
Not yet.
Glenn died? Come on,
Not
man.
yet.
We would have talked about that.
I do think, especially if you're a fan of the comic, there was foreshadowing within when Glenn killed the guy.
Guys.
And
Yeah, well, I think he's talking about the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see the bashed head. And yeah, so okay, what are your guys' thoughts on Glenn killing the guy? Or his first human kill?
Human kill, yeah.
There were a lot this episode, though. I think for Glenn, it was a big thing, and I love the fact that he and Heath both discussed it beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Have you killed a human before? No, I haven't. Me neither. What do you think it's going to be like? I mean, they were both very concerned about this, and that's not the talk of somebody who's going to go off the rails.
No.
That's the talk of somebody who is going to hold on to their humanity, and I think it's going to make it all the more sad when Glenn gets his head bashed in.
Yeah.
There was some foreshadowing.
With all of Glenn's luck these past episodes.
The luck these past episodes, the people with their heads smashed in, caved in. Luckily, nobody was, twirling a bat.
Yeah.
In Negan's compound. I think Glenn's right. I think, and this ties back into the Carol thing. I think no matter what, when you take a human life, it changes you.
Yeah.
I agree.
And yeah, it's going to change Glenn, and it's going to change Heath, and it's going to change Tara some.
Oh yeah, Tara. Yeah. That's poor Tara. But no, yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. I like that he also stopped Heath from
Yeah,
killing
Heath
that
couldn't
guy.
do it, so it's just like I'll take care of this.
And honestly, it's almost better in a sense that because Heath definitely got his first kill.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, with
This
the
episode.
machine gun.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think it's a defensive kill. Which, granted, killing anybody in this, in this world, you're gonna probably have to, and killing anybody in general is not good. But it's probably easier to digest more so than I killed a man that was sleeping that essentially did nothing wrong to me at this point in time. He could have, and maybe Glenn justified it a little bit after he saw the photos, and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
guys.
The photos I think were a great device to show just how bad these people are. Not only, and you noticed all the heads were like smashed in on those, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's almost like this guy's got his Negan Wall of Fame. Oh hey, he did this and he did that. Look at all
Ooh, and
this
this was my
beautiful artwork
favorite.
that he did, and so yeah, it kind of gives you that whole sociopath, psychopath. I'm not sure which.
yeah.
But it definitely went to establish these guys are bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that might have been easier. And then definitely the fact that Heath killed people while they were after him. I think that kind of rests a little bit better because it was more of a defensive
Yeah.
stuff. And honestly, my heart broke kind of a little bit when you see Glenn kill the person and he kind of breaks down a little bit because he was one of the ones that I never wanted to see kill somebody.
We never thought would kill a human.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So
Honestly.
yeah, it was.
I don't know. I kind of wanted to see him kill Nicholas.
Well, yeah,
For just a little
I think
bit.
we all wanted that. So
That's debatable, and we can get in. We'll talk about
that's
that.
another day.
We'll talk about that off
Oh,
air.
yeah.
So, okay, predictions for next episode because we have to wrap it up.
I hope Carol goes not crazy, but I hope she makes them pay, especially the guy calling her the naughty word. I hope they get them back. I hope nothing happens. I really hope nothing happens because it seems like they're going to do the trade and it's going to be fine. Although Rick or somebody else might do something stupid, and it's going to cause bad stuff to happen. I'm hoping not, but I see that happening because somebody's going to jump the gun. So that's my thought.
I kind of tend to agree. I think somebody's going... I'm not necessarily saying somebody's going to jump the gun, but I think somebody's going to get sloppy.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling Carol's going to be like, oh, look, I'm just so terrified and scared. And they're going to be like, get on the ground. They're going to push her down on the ground by some sort of weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly Ninja Wolf Carol is going to break loose and make Rick's group look like complete amateurs, the Keystone Cops breaking in. Carol's just going to be like, pop, 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 slice, pop, 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 pop. Okay, me and Maggie are ready to go. And now I do think that they're going to end up meeting with a group of saviors on the road out, because I do think that someone has been called.
Yeah. And
they're going to be waiting for them. And who knows, maybe it's, a group similar to the one that was holding off Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha's group.
The Scouts.
The Scouts, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to think that the group that Daryl and Sasha and Abraham ran into, those are like the Scouts. They'll scout around on main roads and, block it off. And if they think that they can get away with something, they'll do that. And then you got, like the hunters and stuff like that. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I think next episode's going to be interesting. I could see Carol maybe going into her beast mode. I'm hoping they don't kill her off. I've been kind of throwing that because whenever they start whenever a main character kind of
gets the light,
starts getting a lot more attention than they deserve, or not when they deserve, but a lot more attention, I get a little bit worried because it's like, could they die?
Unless it's Rick or Carl.
And especially because of the way Carol has, she's kept that journal and the way that she's been acting a little bit more regretful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got me a little bit worried. I do think that she might go into beast mode. I think it's an act, definitely, and she's letting them get their guard down. I think she could very well defeat a bunch of the saviors, and I think we could possibly run into the guy that stole Daryl's bike and crossbow.
I would love
Dwight.
that.
Oh, I really want to see Dwight come back.
We're either going to get Dwight, because we're going to have to run into him at some point soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if that's the case, it might not be good for Abraham. But if we don't see him anytime soon, we will probably see him at the finale with Negan.
Yeah.
So, either way, that's all the time we have for now. We could go on and talk about it, but we got to wrap up. So thanks everybody so much for tuning in. I had a blast today. It was so much fun. Tune in next week, and this episode will be up later on Facebook.com/STLDeadAir. That's where I post all these episodes and all last week's episodes and more of Dead Air. You can go check that out. Please do comment, talk about it, get into the discussion. It's so much fun, and I'm having a blast. And I will see all of you same time, same place next week. Bye, everybody.